The most bizarre basketball player in the game today, in my opinion, is Jaren Jackson Jr., a player that has incredible skills that defines what being a modern basketball player is on both ends of the floor, but also has flaws that directly impact his strengths as a player. And these are flaws that have just as much, if not more, of an impact on his game. He's a very good player that has real star potential in my opinion based off his skills, but his entire game seems to clash rather than it does flow. Jaren has the ideal frame and athleticism for a 4-5 hybrid player. He stands at 6'11", he weighs 242 pounds, has a 7'4" wingspan, he has good quickness, good lateral movement skills, moves very well in the open floor. Skills are one thing, and Jaren definitely has them, but also having the athleticism and the frame to be a versatile player as well means a lot when you're talking about a player with the kind of versatility that Jaren Jackson has. Jaren's offensive efficiency was down this season, especially compared to his last somewhat full season of play. I believe that the numbers this season have a lot to do with the context of having a sort of off season compared to what you usually would expect. And what I mean by this is last season, the last game he played was in June, and then the season started in October, and as a first round exit last season, under normal circumstances, he would have from April to October, but instead it was June to October due to how late last season started. I'm not saying it is the main reason, but it wouldn't shock me if coming back from an injury to quickly going to playoff basketball, then having a shorter offseason than expected, could lead to maybe having a bit of a down year. Because I'll be honest with you, when I watch Jaren play, his offense feels a lot better than the numbers this season indicate. He has a good shot profile from 3, he has good free throw numbers, and while the form is a bit unorthodox, he has the results to justify the form. As a finisher, he isn't perfect, but he has fun finishes that are very much impressive to me and require real body control. He's not an out-of-this-world post player, but he does use his strength to his advantage at times. He has all the tools in the world to be a complete offensive player, and at just 22 years old, he has a lot of room to improve as well. On defense, I believe that Jaren Jackson has the tools to be one of the best, if not the best defensive player in basketball one day, just solely based off the intangibles and the abilities. He's a monster shot blocker that has good timing on his block attempts and is a very good athlete. On top of that, he's a very big paint presence, which is enough to scare opposing offenses. His gravity as a paint defender is incredible, and that alone makes him valuable on defense, even with the fouling problem, which I'll touch on later. He's also someone that's capable of playing multiple defensive coverages. He can drop, he can switch, he can hedge, handles himself well on the perimeter. Although there are things I am concerned about, I'll talk about those soon. But the point is, he plays very well in space because he moves well in space and can play passing lanes and even handle zone on switches. He has the frame, athleticism, and ability to be dominant on defense. However, Jaren's flaws as a player conflict with his strengths so much to the point that I believe it's a direct conflict between his strengths and his weaknesses. And it honestly hurts his game and is a gigantic barrier in him reaching his immense ceiling. He's incredibly clumsy as a player. That's the best way I can describe it. And while his foul trouble is somewhat because of the shot block attempts at times, because I do think that there are times that he's out of position, to me, it's more about his position and reaching in other contexts. And what I mean by that is, the foul problems have a lot more to do with blocking, offensive, and reach-in fouls, as well as perimeter shooting fouls, rather than it has to do with anything about his block attempts in the paint. Although it still isn't perfect in that area, but compared to the other areas of fouling, it's clearly less problematic than those other areas. This is a problem that has led to him not seeing the floor as much as he probably should. He's never played more than 28.5 minutes per game in a season. He's only played in 30 or more minutes in 36.8% of his career games, and a lot of that has to do with the foul trouble that he gets himself into. On offense, I also feel like he settles for jumpers, and I still don't think he has a full grasp of knowing the difference between the ability to make a shot versus knowing it's a good shot to take. And the offensive fouls are a problem as well. These problems directly hurt his strengths. Fouling problems negate a lot of what you can do on defense. Shot selection hurts your efficiency despite how good your skills may be. And it all relates back to his lack of control as a player. He's Noah from Black Clover, where he clearly has the magic and the power, but has no control over that magic power, which holds her back early on, which led to a lot of slander, harassment, and being gaslit by her own family. Now, Jaren isn't slandered, he isn't harassed, and he isn't gaslit by his own team. Thankfully, that's the case, but the lack of control that holds Noah back early on in the series is something that I think Jaren relates to as a player. The lack of control that leads to the fouls, leads to the bad shots, hold him back as a player, and these are things that he needs to overcome to reach his immense potential. However, I do think it's possible that Jaren can overcome these flaws. He's still young at just 22 years old, and you have to remember, he was extremely young for a draft prospect when he was picked 4th overall in 2018. I believe he was the youngest player in that draft. I could be misremembering things, but at the very least, he definitely was one of the youngest, and I do believe, again, if my memory is correct, he was the youngest. He has all the tools in the world to be a great two-way player. I'm not saying he will overcome his flaws. Only time will tell if he can overcome the flaws in his game that clearly have a big barrier toward him reaching his ceiling. But he's shown encouraging signs already, in my opinion. His body control has gotten better. The fouls are down a little bit with not much minute per game change. Again, he still does have a ton to work on though, but it's not impossible for him to improve. He's young, he's talented, he has a great motor that's very evident when you watch him play, and from all accounts, he's a great person with a great work ethic. I'm hoping for the best because he seems like a fun personality, something that basketball needs in its young stars, and I think that Jaren can be a star. But it's also very bizarre to watch the way his strengths and his flaws directly conflict with each other. But that's the end of this video. If you made it to this point, thank you so much. Again, you guys have no idea how much the support on these videos means to me, and I really am thankful for all of it, and can't thank you guys enough for the support you guys give me. But if you made it to this point and you haven't already, why not subscribe? Because you probably saw something that you liked, at least I hope that you did, and I have plenty of videos on this channel just like this, so I think you would enjoy those. And I have more videos coming out in the future, so hit the notification bell to be notified whenever I release a new video. We're on that road to 10,000 subscribers. I think we can hit that by the end of the year. And again, I just can't thank you guys enough for the support you guys have given me. But with that being said, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hey, it's me again. I know you're probably tired of hearing my voice, and I completely understand that. But YouTube will be recommending 2 videos for you. One of these videos will be my most recent upload at the time of recording. That video will be the video about Grant Williams, depending on when you watch it. It might be a different video, but if you want to check out right now that video I did about Grant Williams' awesome Game 7, go check that out, and YouTube will recommend another video. Don't know what that video will be. That being said, once again, have a nice day.